for me, it's always, I simply don't know why Microsoft has not changed that. But 70% of all Microsoft agreements that are in enterprise agreement model and server and cloud are expiring in May and June. And that's traditionally the case because Microsoft has its fiscal year end in June. So they want to, of course, monetize as much revenue as they can in June. So I understand that. But basically, the whole organization, especially the sales organization, is working in the last quarter of their fiscal year, and the other, in the summer they basically do nothing, and then they start up back again in September. But this is the most wonderful time of the year for us and for Microsoft because all of the projects are now coming to an end. Compared to our last negotiation training, what we basically see when we were working for Microsoft, we always stated internally, like we will get every client the same discount that they had in the previous agreement. That's something that's completely disappeared. So if you have a 15 or 20% discount or M365 E3, you are consuming, you're going to the next agreement, chances are Microsoft will not give you any discount at all. And besides the fact that you are not getting your discount, also be informed that there have been 2 or 3 price increases in the last 3 years. So basically your costs are going up like with 30, 40% for M365 E3. So that is a difficult story. And then again, we are like a broken record. Optimizing is the way to go there to save money. If you know the organization, like you shared, Floris, chances are if you're talking with the right person on the right time, that you will get more discount and getting a higher discount because you know someone within your internal organization that wants to do that specific deal. That can help a lot. For instance, we had a case where a client was investing several millions in Dynamics, and they actually forgot to include the enterprise agreement as well. So they have now started a renegotiation on investing even more technology in Dynamics. But in exchange, they now have been requesting to add the normal modern workplace enterprise agreements components as well. And this client is completely deployed into the M365 E5 cloud. But because of the fact they are simply investing in Dynamics, Microsoft is still considering to give them that high discount on E5 because they want to have that strategic deal. With M365, the modern workplace technology, there are some competitors, but Microsoft is the dominant party with that regard. But in the Dynamics part, that's a different ball game. So if you know the right person within Microsoft that has that interest of getting that specific deal, that specific technology, you might be able to benefit from that. Mentioned a few times, but high discounts can be nice. But if you are, for instance, getting a discount from Microsoft that's 80 or 90%, you should be very careful because basically what they are saying there is, one, our license model is not correct, therefore we give you this insane discount. Or 2, you're really buying stuff that you don't need and will not use in the coming years. Because basically if they do that, if they throw away like the crazy discounts, then they're also forcing you to commit for a longer term. And that way they will know that you will not using the technology and you will leave it on your virtual shelf for the next years. Buy what you require. In the end, if you compare it, you will spend less money to Microsoft. And all these facts together make that, negotiate from strength. If you have done your homework, you've done the 80% ahead, you know your facts, you will have an easy, transparent negotiation, and you will shift your focus from the TCO part to have from the discount part to the TCO calculation. And that's so important because Microsoft is that dominant party. They will change their behavior towards clients in the next years. So the only way to achieve a good deal is by focus on the TCO, not having that commercial conversation around high discounts, but have that conversation with your internal organization on how to optimize, how to implement that. That will be the key to get control of your licensing costs with regards to Microsoft. So some frequently asked questions. Why is Microsoft so eager to close a deal in June? Yeah, basically because they want to hit their target as much as they can. Amy Hood is refreshing the F5 button July 1st. Everyone sees how many revenue comes in. And if there's not a double-digit growth number, everyone is disappointed within Microsoft. So that's basically the main reason, because everyone wants to have that good bonus internally. It's a commercial organization. And like you said, Floris, it's a shareholder company. So they're looking for double-digit growth or even more, and they will do everything to achieve that. And having said that too, they will do everything to achieve that. The negotiation of the tone is changing. Where Satya Nadella first came in and was very client obsessed, we now see a shift from that. We see a shift in behavior. We see a shift in mentality from Microsoft, where they first were working in that zone of possible agreement. And what they basically do now is, if you're not in the zone of their possible agreement, then you have bad luck. Then they just say, no, we will not do that. And they will not negotiate with you any further.
So what do you think brought about that change? What does that mindset change? Where does it come from?
I think it's based upon two items. One, they're becoming dominant in the modern workplace part. In the time that we used to work for Microsoft, Google was still a competitor. But in all honesty, it's not a competitor anymore. It's just Microsoft. I think with all the clients we have seen, one or two have some Google aspects in their organization. But other than that, none. So being confident that they are the cloud modern workplace leading party, that makes them very confident that if they will not negotiate with you, what are the options? You cannot switch it off. Yeah, you can switch it off, but after 90 days, it will become very lonely at your laptop. I think that's basically it. And another item, I think, is the insane growth targets they have internally. So the teams are forced to choose that approach in order to achieve their targets. So if you cannot do the value sell, and you are not able to convince clients to go from E3 to E5, what else can you do to incentivize to go to E5? So if you are using E3 and you're stating basically that's enough for me, then the Microsoft account team is not interested in you anymore. They will try once you have a new CIO within your organization, they will try again. But basically we see only Microsoft attention for the clients that are fully embracing all of the Microsoft stuff. If you're not embracing everything, they're basically not interested in you. Yeah, I think that's the main reason why the tone of the negotiation is changing. And this one is also a very difficult one. Getting back to the ancient Microsoft contractual technology they have in place, Microsoft is stating that we should have a deal before 15th of June. That's their internal cutoff date. That's actually true. They have that internally, and you have some few days after 15 June to negotiate. But it could be that if you are not negotiating on time, that the deal will slip to the new fiscal year for Microsoft, not for you as a client, but for Microsoft. Microsoft has been is rewarded by the invoice date, so that's very important to them. A lot of clients have the idea that, I have a deal coming up in June, so I can negotiate a very good deal. But note that if your agreement is expiring 30/6/2024, that the invoice date will be July. And therefore, it's a fiscal year deal for Microsoft in the next year. So they might be positioning it to you as that you are having that special deal, but it's actually not a good deal for you. So know that.
Yeah. And would it make your deal better if you would negotiate it past 15th June? Would that help?
Well, basically what we said, if you have your account team that has been achieving their target, They will say internally that they are very stressed, but you and I know that they will not be stressed. But if you have a whole country that's depending on that deal to come in, and know that if you have your Microsoft Enterprise Agreement renewal billing in June, and that slips away, that's a big no-no internally for Microsoft. So the longer you wait, the more tension there gets. And often, and Microsoft hates when we say this, but the discount gets higher the longer you wait. It's simply the truth, based upon 20-year
it's because everybody does that. And the way you should look at this is the amount of paperwork just keeps getting higher and higher in the back office of Microsoft to process those deals. Yeah. There are people there that just need to put everything in their sales or in the SAP system, basically. And they just go by revenue. So if your deal is very high in revenue, you have a higher likelihood of having it processed in time. But if you are struggling with a smaller deal and you're a sales representative of Microsoft, you have that smaller deal, you're probably below on the pile, but you need that deal to put you over the 100% threshold. That's going to be difficult.
That's going to be difficult. So we had situations last year where Microsoft, they had a handshake on a deal a week upfront of the end of the fiscal year end, but they just were not able to get the paperwork done in time and process it in time. So the client had renewed their enterprise agreement, no consequences, but it was different for Microsoft. And then you have a difficult story internally. What if my organization has not prepared internally and I must achieve a suboptimal negotiation result? Already going ahead to the next slide, a shameless plug, but reach out to us. With our proven method, we are able to assess your online services requirements within days. And with that, we can help you optimize your bill of material in a very short approach. And then you can negotiate towards the suboptimal negotiation result. Like I said, 80% is in the preparation. So that 80%, if you do that within days, it will not have the best result. That takes time. But if you want to go for a quick fix, we have the tooling in place and the method in place to assess your requirements very rapidly, and we can help you with that.
What would you say are Microsoft's key drivers at the moment? So what type of products do they want you to buy as their end customer?
Good question. Well, you can see it based upon the interactions we have in LinkedIn with our clients. All of the topics that are related to Copilot, they're going crazy. So first subject besides modern workplace in the negotiation is Copilot. And I would focus, if you are focusing on that, I would think twice before you would invest in that, to be very honest, because the results that we've seen in our client base so far are not, very, very positive. We use it ourselves. I think we are a fan of the technology, but Microsoft now, for instance, is claiming that you can get up to 70% more productivity. Well, I don't think that's reality, to be honest. I think that's
probably for some organizations that do very specific things, like creating content, writing code, those type of things. Yes. This will benefit them a lot. But the question is how do you test that?
Yeah.
So how do you know if your finance department is going to benefit from this?
Yeah.
Microsoft will tell you they will, but how do you know as the end customer?
Exactly. Yeah.
So what else do you see?
Of course, Dynamics, still very hot topic, and they are not dominant in that market. So they are doing everything they can to be dominant. We actually see a lot of deals going to Salesforce in that matter. So Microsoft is I think they are only realistic in that aspect, where they are still buying deals in that. aspect. So if you put that on the table, it might be very, very interesting. And that's, for me, are the two focus points at this time. In the past, we've seen that Azure was a big focus point. There I see a shift. Microsoft is not really keen on putting clients into very large commit models. Of course, they want to ensure that you will not go to AWS or Google Cloud. But basically, they're not showing the effort there to be also stating that out, because we get that from a lot of clients. Well, we are willing to investigate in Azure. Is that something we put on the negotiation table? You can put it on and it will help, but we don't see the effects of that like we did 2 years ago.
No, that's a simple explanation for that is the way that Microsoft salespeople are being recognized. So They're not recognized on the Azure money that comes in, but they're recognized on what you do as a consumption.
Correct.
So keeping that consumption as inflated as they possibly can means that they have to put in less effort to make their target on that specific aspect.
Correct.
So if I were an organization that does a lot within Azure, I'd actively challenge my account team at Microsoft on helping me reduce cost within Azure rather than negotiating a better deal within Azure, or use a third party like ourselves to assess your environment to see where your potential for optimization is.
Yeah. And this is where Microsoft, I think, is falling short, because in the whole optimization part, they do not proactively inform clients about the optimization possibilities they have. And I think this is still the old Microsoft, where they are not focusing on what's the best interest to you, but more on the revenue part of the story. Good point. So we've shared a lot of knowledge with you, and now the shameless plug. Did you know LicenseQ offers? Well, the first one is we have developed a method where we are able to assess your requirements within a week maximum. So we have developed a tool. We can connect it with an app registration to your online services portal. And with that, we are able to assess if there is any optimization potential. And we have not seen a case yet where there is no optimization. So the minimum result is always 10% and often more. Some of the services we've been offering as well that is not very known within our followers is the second opinion. So we see a lot of lead buyers that want to negotiate themselves. They don't want to involve a third party, which is completely fine. But it's always good to assess whether your negotiation result is a good one, is a valid one. We can help with that. We've helped a lot of clients, and we have helped them to assess, is your negotiation result a good result, or is there room for improvement? We are able to help with that on the background and not be on an active role within that project. And also, therefore, background coaching. A lot of negotiators are struggling with Microsoft. What we said, it's very hard to get that discount. And for some reasons, some of the negotiation, they don't want to have a third party. But we also offer services where we help the negotiator negotiate. We know which buttons to push. We can validate whether what Microsoft's stating is true, and we can help you guide through the organization of Microsoft. Not being active on the negotiation table, but just help you as a negotiator to get the maximum result within your organization. That's a service we see more and more, and we are also offering that. And in addition, because we see the market also a bit changing, as we offer gain share negotiation services. We are not the biggest fan of it, but we do offer it. So would you be ever considering to work with us and you want to have that sales model into place? Let's have a discussion around that. Last but not least, and that's also a question I would like to ask to you, Floris. What if my organization has not prepared internally and I must achieve a suboptimal negotiation result and you want to work with us? What would you recommend to do?
So usually these are cases that come in and they say like, oh, we have 3 weeks left. We don't know what we need to do right now. Microsoft is threatening us with, it's been happening a bit recently. Microsoft's threatening us with fines if we don't do certain things. They say we're using service that we're not using. Well, if you only have a few weeks time, we can't do everything for you. We can't obviously light water on fire. So what we typically do then is we do that check. So we do a very quick scan, a very quick benchmark of your online services environment. We tell you, okay, we think there's room for growth, maybe not right now, but towards the future. So taking that into account in the discussions that we are having with those, with you as the potential client, with Microsoft, and then see what there is, what we are able to salvage. Also, if there's claims from Microsoft, like you're using services that you're not paying for, well, we should investigate, obviously, if we can turn those off or if those need to be turned into an actual order. But if it does need to be turned into an actual order, that's not an issue, because that means that Microsoft will probably increase their revenue. So they're going to be willing to listen. Yeah. So the scare tactics that they use, where you are starting to freak out and think that you're not going to get the best result on your negotiation because you're out of a position of strength, we will be able to quickly turn that around. Take it up with Microsoft, even call the right people within the organization for you if you so require, and just tell them, listen, these are not the tactics that you should use with Microsoft. You should use a different approach. This is what we can offer. This is what we think that we can do. This is where we think we can help you and your customer, dear Microsoft, and let's just make this into a success. Yeah. You can obviously do that yourself, but if you're not feeling confident, then I think using a company like ours is crucial.
I agree. Also, when you are in a deadlock situation with Microsoft, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We can always provide you any form of advice without having a whole contract in place. We can always get you on the way. So that's it for our session. For now, if people are interested, we are having a discussion, and we'll give you some examples as well. But this is it for the main part. So thank you everyone for watching and attending this session.
Okay, so in recent cases, we've gotten in touch with some organizations. They called out to us and they said, you need to help us. Microsoft is threatening us with a fine of let's say $100,000. Because they say that we're using services that we shouldn't be using according to our contract. We don't know if that's true. We're afraid that they're actually going to send this fine. How would you deal with these claims that made by Microsoft?
So first of all, when I hear a case like that, my first idea is, that account team is under pressure. They need to achieve their target, because basically what we've seen in the past 4 years, Microsoft is not giving any fines, but for some reason they are using that reasoning towards clients. And basically what we see is, in the Microsoft internal organizations, they have the possibility to see what you are using internally. And this is where it gets a bit tricky, because apparently account teams are checking what you are using in the licensing portal. They are able to see what technology you have been enabling or not. And this is the strategy they use. So they basically say, you've been using that security component. It was being clicked on. It has been actually applied to maybe 10 or 20 users for test purposes. But hey, this is the licensing agreement. On this security component is a tenant-wide product. So therefore you need to pay for all products. So dear client, you either pay a fine. So they basically are threatening to invoicing you after the fact for using that technology. In exchange, they use it in the negotiation. Well, they said, well, we might waive it if you go for E5 for all users. So, and this is where I feel Microsoft is not playing a fair game, because one, we know for a fact that they're not able to do an invoice after the fact, because we've been struggling that a lot in our Microsoft time. They're not able to do that. Two, a fine is basically something that only can be done when you are being audited by an audit team, not by a sales team. And in this specific case, even more surprising to me was that fact that the LSP was involved in it as well. They were providing that information to Microsoft in order to get that upsell from E3 to E5. So the LSP gets a higher margin on that, a higher rebate on that.
So a lot to unpack there, but do you think it's an effective strategy that Microsoft is trying out? Or
I think it's a short-term tactic. In the end, it will bite them up the ass, because the difficult part is that clients are very sensitive for this approach. To be very honest, we had 4 or 5 clients in the past week reaching out to us with the same problem. So it's something very, very recent and upcoming. I think it's a short-term solution for that. I think in the end it will, it will affect their image. 2, it's not the right thing to do, if you're very honest, because within these cases, clients were just not aware that they were having that, enabling that functionality in the portal, not knowing what they were doing. So basically, looking at the contract, Microsoft has a point, but the reality is often different. And I think we should be in a situation where Microsoft will be saying, "Oh, you have put that on. Are you aware of that? That you will have to do that, apply that for all of your users, and that you should buy that actually, not doing that after the fact backwards for 9 months in this specific case, but proactively. Oh, I get a report. Oh, you're using this, dear client. Are you know that you're deploying it? Can we help you? Is there anything we can do to increase the adoption of that technology?"
So why do you think they take that approach? The fear approach rather than taking the approach of a trusted partner?
Because the reality is that fears is the quickest way to get to a deal. That's what I've seen in the past 4 years, setting up a company and running negotiations.
If you look at other companies like Oracle, for instance, these are more type of practices that they would use instead
of course, this is something you hear at Oracle and VMware now, and the whole Java topic is now a thing within Oracle. But this approach, there is a reason why Oracle is using that successfully for so many years. And everyone was stating, well, Oracle's going down the drain and they will lose all of the technology. Reality is different. Clients accept it. And
do you then think that Microsoft is using this to test the bathwater, so to say, see if this works, and then implementing that at a greater scale?
That would be my takeaway. I think they are very confident that they are the market leader and will become the market leader perhaps for the next 10 or 15 years, and therefore are choosing this approach to please the shareholder and increase that, because stories like this, they don't come out in press. If you are a company, you're affected by this, you will not publicize that. You will not inform everyone that you have that situation in place. And therefore, a party like us could be very beneficial to deal with, because we can help you get away in all 4 cases.
But it would be rather simple than to just send an auditor, right? So why would the sales team itself think, oh, this must be a good approach to...
Yeah, and this is a funny fact. In the Western Europe region, they actually are not doing audits anymore for commercial clients. They are doing that for SPLA clients, but not in the commercial market anymore. And also there, I feel that there will be a change. I think when this approach could be successful, they will continue with the audit practices again. And also there we've seen a lot of misinformation and a very aggressive approach from Microsoft to achieve a good result. So yeah.
Great insights.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.